Hello, and this video is going to help you with your registration for the next semester. The one screen that I'm going to start with is going to be SE4's main page. I know that some of you have in your bookmarks the Service Center, which is great, but if not, I want to show you how to get there. If you go to se4.edu, you can come over to Portal. And once you click on Portal, it's going to either log you in if you have it saved, or you might have to put in your login information. And then you can go over to Service Center. And this is where we're going to be focusing on looking for classes, but also making sure that they officially get into your registration. So when you go to the screen, it's going to be a little bit less options for you because you don't have the advising role that we have here at the Blue Water Middle College for our staff. But the functions that we're going to be looking at are going to be present on your screen. We're going to be looking at student planning today. But if you didn't want to use the screen, or if at some point you're in a different screen and you want to get back to student planning, you can click over here to any of the options here on the far left. For example, for the academics, they would have the student planning as well. And then a couple other features that we're going to be looking at for course catalog. And then, so we're going to go to student planning for this one. And by clicking on that, it's going to bring you to a screen where it's going to show you the two main functions in Service Center, where it's going to be able to show you where you stand with your degree, which is go to my progress, and then plan your degree and register for classes is going to be the actual function where you would select classes and make sure that they're officially registered for and you're taking one of the seats for the semester. So for today's demonstration, we're going to go to my progress first. Here is going to be a screen that's going to show you what degree that you have indicated to SE4 when you applied, or if you've changed it since, that you are going to be pursuing at this time. For mine, I am an obsolete student. It's been a few years since I attended, so I'm going to go over to view a new program. This is something that you can also do if you ever decide that you are possibly interested in a different program or degree that SE4 is offering before you make it official. And we can change that for you if you decide that you want to make it official. But for this demonstration, I'm going to go through and I'm going to look at the arts degree. You also at that point need to put down what catalog year that you are going to be looking at. When you are selecting a catalog year, please note that you can only be looking at requirements for a catalog year that you attended SE4. So our new students would be that year that they're currently in. If you are a 13th year, you can go back 2 years based on that being attendance that you had for your SE4. So once you do that, your cumulative GPA will be there. It'll show you where you stand with things right now. But when you scroll down, it's going to take the worksheets that we've given students in different seminars and student success sessions through the Blue Water Middle College. They're going to take that same one-page information and it's just going to be expanded into a full document where every class is listed, that you can click on them and you can actually see as a hyperlink some different information, some details about that class. So the different sections are going to be here. You can see that the first one's going to be communications. It's going to list overall what you need to do for your degree. It's going to tell you the different classes that you can take. Once you click on them over in the section right here, it'll take you to more information about it. I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to show you some different sections. The next one is humanities. So just like it would appear on the worksheet that we provided students, you have all of the classes listed out, but then each one of these lines is going to be broken down into specific classes. I'm going to look at for our example after you guys go through and look at it for yourself. For today's example, I'm going to look at art appreciation. By clicking on that, it's going to bring you to a new screen that's going to provide you the details about that specific class depending on the semester you're looking at. So it's going to say what the explanation or what the course is about, and it's going to give you the prerequisites for the class. In this case, it's not going to have any. You don't have to do the AccuPlacer. It's not going to say you have certain test scores, and it does not have a class before it to indicate that you need to take that prior to taking this class. I will show you what those look like here in a little bit, but for this example, we're just going to see that it doesn't have anything. So if you click on the sections or the expandable view for viewing the sections, it's going to bring up a couple different semesters. The first one it's going to default to is going to be the semester that is currently taking place. And sometimes students forget that that's the semester that's first present, and they'll start going through and looking at availability of classes. And it's actually classes that are not going to be for next semester. And they get really frustrated when they go to plan and schedule and they find that the class isn't there. I don't know why it's not there. And it's because the system put it in the wrong calendar for the student. So you have to look to make sure that you're actually looking for classes for the next semester. So for this one, we're going to see that this is what we're currently in, the fall of 2023. So we need to scroll down until we get to winter 2024. So once you see that, then you can start looking at classes. These numbers right here in the seats is going to be really important for students because it's going to let you know how available the class is. So the first number is going to say how many classes or how many students have registered for the class. The next one is how many seats are available in that class. And then the third number is going to be how many students are waitlisted for that class, meaning how many students want to get into that class since the class is full. We'll talk about waitlist here in just a little bit, but once you are looking at times, this will go through and it'll tell you the days of the week that the class is being offered. It's going to say TH for the Tuesday and Thursday. It'll say an M and a W for Monday, Wednesday. It'll give you the times. It will tell you the dates that the class is going to run. So this is going to be an example of a full semester class. It's going to start on January 8th and go until May 3rd. If you get into a situation where you are taking a class that, for example, down here in this class, it is going to start a little bit later. It does not start on January 8th. It actually starts in February. So this class is not going to be a full 16-week semester class. It's going to be starting on a week 5. So it's only going to be 12 weeks. So the information is going to be the same, but it's going to be taught at a faster pace. So you just have to know what you're signing up for so that you can make sure that you are not only not showing up on the wrong day, but that you're already anticipating kind of your workload. Sometimes these late start classes or classes that were possibly going to be starting at the beginning of the semester, but maybe end before the end of the semester could be a benefit to some students that are athletes and have a lot of an expectation as far as like time that they have to go for practice or games. But usually taking a full semester class is the best option because you're not learning the material at such a fast rate. So looking further up, going back up to the top when we were looking at our sections, for example, here, this will tell you if it's going to be a lecture class, meaning if it's in person, it'll tell you where it's found on campus. And then over here in the instructors, it will tell you if the instructor is already assigned to the class. So for example, up here in the fall, you would see that while we are still looking at the winter, but it would tell you that the instructor's name right here. If it says that it's online class, then it will not have any location listed. It'll just say that it's online and you would be finding it through Canvas and then still the instructor listed there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this class on as a possible class. And by able to do that by selecting the add section to schedule, by clicking on that, it's just going to give you that same information again about the class, making sure that the details about the class are something that you can comply with and that are good with you. You're going to then hit the add section. And when you do that, it's going to come up here on the top right-hand screen. It's going to take you back up to the very beginning. And it's going to say in green that this class has now been put on your plan so that you can schedule it later on. So that's important. That's a quick thing you need to be looking for to make sure that you see that so that you know that when you get to the point where you're actually going to officially register for classes, it's there for you to do that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you another way of going through and looking for classes. So I'm going to go back to my progress. And up here at student planning, we're going to, over to academics. You're going to go to the course catalog. And this is a great tool. I use this all the time with students when I'm looking at classes that they come in and they tell me this is something that my brother, my sister, my friend took, and they really suggest the class and I know it's going to work for my degree. They already went through their planning and they found that it's a great class for them to look at. If you know what it is that you are interested in, if you were to go to the semester, so we want to go that, make sure that it's the full semester, the winter 2024, don't select the non-credit because these classes would not earn you credit. So we want to go to the winter 2024, and then you can go through the subject areas and you can specifically look for the class that you're interested in. We just did an art class, so I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to say that we're interested in history as a potential class. And then I'm going to also look at sociology and then maybe psychology class, because while you don't know, you're interested in them, you don't know if it's going to be something that works for your schedule. So if you have no idea, you just want to take a history class, you can leave it blank. If you know of a specific class that you're interested in this case, I know that I want to start with sociology. I've never taken it. I can put in Social 101. And then when I do my search, it's going to just give me the Social 101 options instead of, for example, all the history classes or all the psychology classes. Down here, if you had more searching that you wanted to do and you were still trying to look at all the options available, you could do the add more, and it'll let you add up, several more of the classes doing the same thing. I would not encourage students to do the days of the week or times of the day. It is a feature that some students like to use because they know that they're not available on Tuesdays or they're not available before a certain time, but they don't have so many options where it gets to be a problem going through and identifying quickly which ones are not going to be something that you can do. Sometimes students put in parameters that narrow down the search too much and they don't have any options. So I encourage you just to leave those blank for right now and then click on the search option. Once you do that, it's going to bring up just the list of classes for that semester specifically. So it's not going to be like the other feature where when you're in the student planning, it brings up your current semester and then the semester you're actually looking for, it'll just bring up the semester that you searched. So you can go through and you can look at the classes. This one gave me my Social 101 classes first. Again, it just gives me the basic information on what it's about and the prerequisites, and you can expand to see how many classes or what the classes are going to be for that specific content by clicking the view available sections. And by scrolling down, you again can see how many seats are still available, the days and times. This one's a Monday and Wednesday from 1 to 2:15, full semester in person with a lecture, and a teacher has been assigned. So as you go through, it'll be something that you can figure out if it's going to be a class that you're interested in. If you get to your search after the semester has already started to register and you see that there's not going to be any seats left, say that there's a 0, you can still add the class to your plan. You would just have to waitlist it, and we will show you how to do that in just a moment. So let's say for this one, I'm going to do the Social 101. I'm going to click on it. Yep, confirm this is the class that I want. It's going to take me back up to the top, saying that it has been on my plan, but this one has already been something that I've done personally. So it's going to just show that I've already done this one. I'm going to go back down to history, for example, and you can go through and you can find out the classes, going through and listing at them. When you're doing the history, if you didn't, again, select History 101 or 102, it's going to bring up all of the history classes. And this is something that as you go through and you look at it, it has all the different descriptions. You'll find that history is one of the content areas that don't have prerequisites. You don't have to take them in a certain order. You can kind of jump around depending on what your interest is and what you need for your degree. Going down to my psychology, I did not put in the very first psychology, which is Psych 180. I just left it open so all psychologies appear. And this is a great example to then show you how this one does have classes that build off one another. So in order to take the Psych 220 lifespan development, you have to do the introduction to psychology first. So if you go over to the psychology options, you can look at the different things that you want to put in there, and then it's going to give you the days and times so that you can look at this. Looking at the psychology options, I'm going to put down here at the bottom. If you see, again, anything higher than a 60, it's going to show you the different times for classes. This one is a great example of how the class starts the second half of the semester. So it's not going to start until the March 11th and then going for that second 8 weeks of the semester. So let's say that I want to add this one. I'm going to add it, and it's going to come back up to the top saying that it has been moved to my plan. So once you go through and you do your search this way, you can then exit that. If you ever have a situation where you're like, I'm not sure, what things are options and you want to look at some more information, one of the features that we had shown in a prior search was looking at the SE4 website and going to the programs. Clicking on this, you can find your degree or go to the arts. And this is another way to look to see what different classes are available to you. Go to course catalog, and it's going to bring up another electronic link where you can go through and you can find different classes. By clicking on it, it'll bring up the description, prerequisite. It'll tell you how large the class is and tell me how many credits it is. I'm going to show you down in a science view looking at some of the science classes, if you're interested in science classes, how if you click on the class, it'll show you the description, the prerequisite, and then it'll say how many credits, but then how much of commitment the labs are. So over here where it says 3 lecture and 3 labs, that's going to be a 6-hour-a-week commitment for this class specifically. So you have to make sure that you're looking at that and making sure that you can gauge it. But once you go through and you look at the information here on this one, you can take those to go back over to the course catalog where you can put in that search. So that's a really great tool to kind of go back and forth with to figure out what you're interested in. Again, going back to that degree, over here for the arts, or any of the other degrees that you're interested in, and making sure that you are eligible to take the class and that you have a specific class that you can be looking for to find out what the availability is. This one, for example, if you wanted to do the physical science class, it says you need to have an appropriate placement and the college assessment. That's the AccuPlacer, or for the SAT. And in a prior video, we showed how to register for that and study for it so that you could be successful in that experience. So I'm going to go back over to your college service center so you can see how we go back over to where we need to be. After we did our course catalog, we're going to go to student planning. When you get to this, we did all of the progress, we did the classes, we did the search. So we're going to come up here to go to my plan and schedule. Now, what this is, I have a error message that comes up, and we want to make sure that students are looking up in the top right and see if there's any error messages in your screen. If anything comes up, if it says there's an address hold or there's an academic success hold or anything like that, please let us know, because if there's a mistake or something needs to be fixed, if there's anything in red, it's going to say that when you go to register on the day that class is open or anytime after that, your system is, your account is going to be locked and it won't let you do that. So if there's something that we need to work with SC4 to have your account unlocked so you can register, we need to know that as soon as possible so that you can get into classes. In that case, I have not been a student with SC4 for a number of years, so I just need to go and fill out an application. I'm blocked until I do that. When you scroll down and you see that you have the semesters, it's going to bring your current semester up. Please do not make any changes to your current semester. That's a problem that some students have. They think that they're looking at the future semester that they're scheduling for, and their current schedule comes up and they're like, oh, I didn't want that. And they hit drop or exit, and then they actually drop a class that they're currently in that they had no desire to drop. So please make sure that you are toggling over to the semester that you want. So we are going to be looking at the winter 2024. And once you do that, it's going to bring up all of the classes here to the left. It's going to list them out, but then it's going to, again, give you this graph view so you can see the classes that you're interested in. So in my situation, when I was going through, I was looking at classes that I found to be interesting. I wanted to possibly take them, but I wasn't really paying a whole lot of attention to the days and times that they were going to be offered. So one of the features with this system is it will show you if there's any scheduling conflicts, and the classes will be listed in red. So it shows me that it's not possible for me to go to the Social 101 class I have picked and then the Art 120 class that I have picked for art appreciation, because they're at the same time and I physically can't be in 2 places at once. So it's going to say that I'm not able to basically register for both of these classes. And then anything that you have for online is going to be listed down here for you. So you guys can see that it's still on your schedule, but since it's not at a specific day or time, it's going to be listed up here. So you have to go in and adjust whatever it is that you are have a conflict with. So if you want to remove something, I'm going to remove this Art 120 class. I'm going to take it out. And now it's going to show that the class is something that I can register for. It's not in red. It's not being highlighted as a concern. So I can go in if I want to and actually register for this class. So I'm going to remove that one altogether. And for my new students, you can take 2 classes if you are coming from a partner high school. So if you are Yale, KPAC, Memphis, Algonac, Port Huron Northern, DLA, you can register for 2. If you are an affiliated student, you can register for more than that. You have to have at least 10 college credits. If you are a 12th grader, you get to do 3 each semester. And then if you're a 13th year student, you get to go up to 17 credits. So it depends on where you are in your time with the Blue Water Middle College for whatever parameters you need to abide by. But once you have that set and your schedule is the way that you want it to be, you can go ahead on the day of registration and register for classes. You will have a couple different ways of doing that. So for example, over here on to the left, rather than it just saying that it's planned and what your options, there's going to be a register button that it can be here for you to actually click and officially register for the class. And you can do it one by one, where you do psychology and then sociology, click on them both. And then the class will turn to green. It'll say that it's registered. It'll pop up here in the top right hand, and it'll say that you've registered for that class. One of the other things that's going to be a register option for you is up here at the top. There's going to be a register all button. That register all button is a great way just to put your classes in quickly if you have a number of them. I caution students that are looking at classes to not do the register all button, because what happens is if you maybe for some reason missed a prerequisite and you don't meet, maybe you have a math class into your schedule and you don't meet the math class because you don't have a test done, and that was one of the 3 or one of the 2 classes that you were trying to register for, then the system won't register you for anything if there was one class that was blocking for you to register for that specific class. So if you go through and you hit each individual one, it'll make sure that it's registered. But regardless, you'll know for sure if a class is registered or not, because it'll say not only registered up here instead of planned, but then a drop button will appear, because if for some reason you want to go back in and change your schedule, you're welcome to do that. You can go ahead and click the drop button and it'll take you out of that class and make it available to other students. If you are looking at these buttons and you are seeing that it doesn't have a register button because the class is already full, but you want a wait list for it, you would click the wait list button that would appear here. The wait list is a system that is something that students have to manage on their own. It's an automated system. So they have the students that are on the wait list. If a student was to drop it that had one of the seats and a seat became available, the first person on the wait list would be notified via email through your SE4 email account. And you would have to get that email and get 48 hours from the day that, or the time and date that it was sent, to log into your student service center, come back to this page and hit your class that would be registered. Because this would now say register for you and only you. But if you miss that 48-hour window, then it's going to actually be, you're going to be dropped from the wait list, and then the next person is going to be on there, and now this class is going to be taken off your wait list. And the next person would have availability to it, and you would not. You have to be added back to the wait list, and you would also have to make sure that you were watching it. So it's really important that if you add yourself to the wait list, that you check your SC4 email often so that you don't miss that. They do only allow the wait list options or the chart for up to like maybe 3 weeks, sometimes 4 weeks before the semester begins, because they want to make sure that if there's any students as the semester gets closer that drops it, that there's not much wait in between it, so that people can have more of an option to register. So for this coming semester, it's going to be halfway through December, they're going to drop it. So before we go on break, they're going to get rid of the wait list, and you are going to be able to do first come, first serve. So you have to, again, if you really want a class, you have to make sure that you're looking for it on almost a daily basis to make sure if anyone dropped it, that you can get in there and take that class. So looking at this option, after you're done and you have the classes that you want officially registered, you can go over here to the print, and it'll bring you over to your classes that you are registering for. It'll say register rather than plan. It'll tell you what you have, the days and times, the format that you'll be taking them in person or online, and then the instructor. If you guys have any questions about how to find a class, you can definitely let one of us know so that we can assist you. And hopefully this helps.